So stressful morning.
Oh no, Simon, getting in trouble.
Would you do it again? Was it that tasty?
It's blooming good cake. Yeah, I'll do it, but I'll do it cleverer next time. I pay
Criminal
for it.
cake.
I pay for it. Yeah. So,
The life of a chess player.
yeah, it was nice cake, but you know.
All right, here we go. Game 3. Magnus, Eric. And what are we seeing on the board?
Yeah, it's a slow start to this game. As we saw, Eric arriving a bit late there, but it's transposed now into the Queen's Gambit, and a variation of the Queen's Gambit declined. That means that Black not taking one of the white pawns that has been offered up early on, and Eric going for a very solid variation.
I've never seen Eric use this opening. Have you?
Nope. Maybe he plays this opening more in Blitz online or in bullet chess, but it's not his normal opening. And, OK, we did see a trade of pawns, even a trade of knights, and it's a very similar pawn structure to what we saw in the last game, so it's very Grunfeld-esque. The type of position looks like a Grunfeld, but it's a different opening. And I'm thinking by Lenia Dominguez, one of the very strongest American players now. But, yeah, it's a solid choice for Black. But if Eric doesn't know the ins and outs of it, I'm scared for him.
Yeah, in his match now against Magnus, another move here.
Yep, just getting ready to bring the black bishop out to a long diagonal. Very sensible. Both sides just developing. Magnus will castle the white king now.
Eric, you stand against quite the hard attack there for a long time, and you deliver a good defensive game eventually.
That strategy paid off, but I don't think it was because I played particularly well, so I definitely can't allow Magnus such favorable positions in the next game.
We had a tweet coming in here from someone who watched your interview earlier today.
And he kept messing up, you know, with, his sister died and he had to race the day after her death, and he broke the world record.
Yeah.
He won. It was an incredible story.
Suddenly no more pressure. Nobody expects him to win this game, so maybe that's when the best things happen. And meanwhile, a few moves on the board. Simon, do you... are you revising your opinion of Black's opening just as we're about to see a big pawn sacrifice, actually?
I don't like this opening for Black. I know lots of strong players play it, but it's so tricky to defend this attack. And let's see what happens. I'm sure now the knight comes forwards, as we said, and Magnus knows exactly what he's doing. The knight is heading towards the Black king. Magnus on the attack. Critical moment.
Then they will be tied on points heading into the last day. But Magnus, he did win that match against Prague, so in direct encounters, Magnus will be on top of the table, actually. And also, Duda will be only 1 point behind.
Loves to bring every piece to the party, but this one also looking good.
I suppose, sorry, David, I've just seen one other move as well. I mean, you could move... Has he gone in with a rook? He looks like...
He has.
OK, wow.
You predicted it, Simon.
Wow, for once I got it right. So I don't think he's going to take the pawn near Black's king, though. I think that's...
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe later.
Yeah, maybe later.
Well,
yeah.
He's cleared another square for his rook. Actually, the two rooks might team up on this line as well.
The human just wouldn't. OK, and Eric is asking the question to Magnus, and our guru, David, has predicted the right move. Bishop takes knight on the board.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the nice trick if you take the rook. Maybe we could just show this as well. There's one more variation. We can maybe quickly show it.
Yep.
But then we see these patterns working. The knight now is able to do what we call a fork, winning the queen. So there's little patterns, and that's where you practice your tactics. They become second nature. After all, it's a game of patterns. You get used to them, you improve your tactics.
Yeah, and a couple of moves, but both sides just improving their rooks.
Classical chess player.
Yeah, OK, we have... Sorry.
OK, yeah, I mean, I'll let David go first, I mean, with that one, because there's so many. I mean, the best or the one we prefer the best, it's quite hard
It's up to you. You can
Matter of taste, maybe, as well?
Does that question mean the best chess player in classical chess, or does it mean with a classical style?
Classical chess.
Classical chess.
Day's work in my life, you know, so, yeah.
Using the third rank to swing across and go for the black king. And OK, I also like Magnus's move. This is what we call prophylaxis in chess. It's where you know that checks are coming later, so you get ready for them, you get out of the way in advance. You know what your opponent wants to do later. The king just sitting on the edge of the board, nice and safe, actually evacuating the first rank where it had no protection. So Magnus knows there's no way to break through yet. He's just improving every single piece to the maximum first. Also a bit stuck. You have to improve the black rook next to the black king, and there we go. He stole the words right out of my mouth. He did improve that rook. Sometimes I click on a square when, for example, we have the analysis board, when I'm highlighting a square, but then I'll drag to show the arrows. And the mixture between clicking and dragging, it doesn't sound like it should affect things too much, but the computer has memory. So if it's remembered you've already clicked on a piece or clicked on a square before, and then you click on a new piece. Sometimes it makes the move for you.
So it's really weird. But here you've got the clicking, you've got the dragging. It's a new thing. But yeah, we have some more moves, and I kind of like Magnus's knight maneuver there, Dave. But it's it.
I agree, Simon. It's really creative. I don't think I would have come up with this one because White's knight looked so glorious in the middle of the board just a couple of moves ago. But
passes on the left-hand side, they can be very strong. And, Eric, not following your advice, he's actually traded rooks.
Yeah, I don't like this. The change in pawn structure, we mentioned White's pawn being really strong earlier. It's even stronger now. And actually, maybe this is even better than what I suggested, keeping the rooks on the board. This second pair of rooks for Magnus. Eric, on his screen, he brought his rook forward. He kind of changed his mind, brought it back, but then he did make that move. And it looks desperate to me. It looks like he's trying to go for White's central pawn. White's passed pawn in the middle there, but the black pieces, they're kind of jumbled up, and also it's allowed the White knight to jump in.
That looks natural.
I mean, look at this pawn move.
Yeah.
And Eric doesn't play any of the top 3 computer suggestions here. We still see them on our screen. And the top computer move, as Ivanka says, crazy. Nobody in their right mind will ever play this. If Black had pushed his pawn in front of his king, we would have had to kind of get the metal detector out and check Eric, because this is so unnatural, opening up the black king when you're about to get attacked anyway, and the white knight jumping in now. The reason the king maybe isn't so comfortable in the corner is because it no longer protects this pawn, which it would have done if the king was more centralized. I'm not even sure if OK, this has happened. Not sure of the best square here or here, but no matter where she goes, it just looks terrible for Black now. This queen is completely stuck. Black is essentially playing with a passive queen, passive bishop.
To be honest, because it gives you a tough position. The computers say it's OK, but it's tough to play.
The match between them and will be in the lead.
Eric running out of ideas. The black queen is stuck, as we mentioned. The black bishop stuck. Black's rook can't really improve itself.
Nice. Such a classy move.
Sadistic.
Before we get to that move, Black's pawns just weaken themselves. That's why the evaluation bar shot up in White's favour. But I'm not as optimistic about that move as you guys. White's king stepping back to defend some pawns, because I don't think the king's that well placed here. But either way, yeah, Magnus just showing that he has the time.
He's just playing with his food before he eats it, I think. He's just dangling it around and just thinking, don't play with your food though, Magnus, it can go wrong. So,
he's just playing on the clock as well. He's just trying to play kind of nothing moves to make Eric a bit nervous.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been, because it was so unexpected. I was expecting all these forward moves. Go forward with your rook, go forward with your queen. Instead, played with a flourish, like you suggested, maybe with some champagne as well.
Little finger up in the air.
6 seconds for Eric. He needs to make a move. OK, he retreats his bishop.
Does this allow the rook in, though?
Yeah, it has to allow the rook in.
What a move.
Phenomenal idea. Will Magnus see this idea if he does it?
Oh, it's on the board.
Look at his camera. Look at Magnus's camera. He was about to play it.
OK, well, Black finds another move after I said it's the only move.
Just to explain as well, Simon, why we think it's so genius. The queen would have come across here. White sacrifices a rook, but no matter where you go with the king now, literally any square you move the king to, it's checkmate on the next turn. The most obvious one is...
Yeah, he's played it.
Bring his knight back, but he's brought his knight back to f5, hitting this pawn, overwhelming this square, and remember, if the knight is captured, it's checkmate. We're about to see the game over.
I maybe pushed the pawn forward, and he has. So Magnus still has to continue.
That knight can go back where it came from, maybe.
And it goes back.
But now...
Maybe this queen takes pawn.
Yeah, if the black queen takes the white pawn in the centre of the board, the white knight will retreat to the centre, and the black rook is falling. The black rook is pinned. The black rook can't move because of the white queen, and it's game over any moment.
Curtains.
Beautiful game for Magnus as well. I mean, I think you don't even need to take the rook immediately here. You can increase the pressure on that rook. Don't rush into your decisions when you're playing them. But yeah, Magnus has played very well in this game.
Yeah, absolutely model game.
Yeah.
Eric, I think, has got a sneaky idea in mind, and there we go. Magnus doesn't play the move we thought, doesn't put pressure on the black rook, and we have to jump in because this game might still go for a little while. Here, I thought the white rook slides across. We mentioned this pin. The black rook is indefensible, but the black bishop could suddenly leap out, pinning itself, pinning this white knight suddenly. And after a few trades, we see that actually black might escape into the endgame. We might have seen this where, OK, white should be winning this pawn eventually. This is a winning endgame, but a lot of hard work to be done. So Magnus didn't go for that. He's going for the slow approach, defending his knight now. And after this pawn push, he's trying to win this black rook with his own pawn. And this is even more sadistic than the other idea that we showed. Eric has to block the pawn advance, but Magnus now can win at will. This pin is never disappearing. He will win the black rook at his leisure.
What a move. That was by Magnus as well. I mean, he's calculated that, yeah, he's just, that pin
3
is winning.
seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Eric has to make the move.
Did he make a move?
Has he moved in time, Eric?
It's tight. Game
No.
over.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's lost on time, it looks like.
Oh no, worst kind of ending to the day for Eric Hansen. Another win for Magnus Carlsen. He decides the match. 3 points for Magnus Carlsen.